What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here with another video, and today we are going to be doing a mock the mock on that franchise, guys. 3-round 21 and 20. Why am I saying 21? 2021 NFL mock draft, his 6th edition. So, obviously, Marcus watches the channel, and hopefully he does enjoy this. He knows I'm going to be honest with him. He knows it's going to be fun. So, let's kick into it. Let's not waste any time. My computer is at 36%, so we're going to be moving hella fast. Not really. We're gonna move fast enough to where we're gonna keep it nice, concise, but also give us some honest feedback. And I know Marcus does a good job, so ain't no real need to complain too much and then bitch, because I know that he'll do the right move. He did say that he's not predicting. He's actually saying what's probably best for the team. So I totally get that. So starting off, number 1, Trevor Lawrence. We're not even going to talk about it for the sake of time, and I'm seeing some things I really like at number 3. Number 2, again, it's a guaranteed. Eagles would have moved up if they felt Zach Wilson was there at 3. That's kind of a given. That means he's going to be gone at 2. So this is what I like to see. Justin Fields at number 3. I mean, again, this idea that it's like, oh, well, Mac Jones fits Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan made RG3 look like one of the best quarterbacks we've seen. Obviously, the injuries, I mean, you lose pretty much both legs. Of course, it's going to be different. The injury management was the, excuse me for a second, there was the actual problem there. So that was the only negative really about RG knee, is that obviously the knee. So Justin Fields, again, if you think that Kyle Shanahan can work with any quarterback, get the one with the most upside. Get Justin Fields. I love that idea, and I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, they could talk about like going after Trey Lance, but I assume this could be number 4, he went Kyle Pitts. I'm perfectly fine with it. I think that's going to be awesome. It makes number 7 an interesting pick. Also number 6 potentially. So I don't know if there was a trade mentioned in this. Of course, I go on a horrible view of Marcus. Sorry, Marcus, but we'll see what happens at number 7. That could probably be a trade, but I want to see what happens in number 6 as well. Kyle Pitts out of Florida, tight end. I like how he puts that in quotations, tight end 1. He's an absolute weapon. Generational talent. Love Kyle Pitts. Now we got Penei Sewell. I dig it. So if you guys aren't new, this series is literally just reacting to what other mock drafts are. And I know Marcus works his ass off and he does a good job. Of course, I do a shitty job of actually giving him the respect in terms of actually clicking on a good timestamp. But, Penei Sewell, if Kyle Pitts is gone, you go with the other generational talent. Penei Sewell will be able to kick into guard for at least 1 year and learn from Riley Reif. I love that idea. And then Penei Sewell and Jonah Williams would be excellent together. I think that'd be an amazing combo. It would be similar to the way Jonathan Ogden started his career, which I think could be quite nice. So this is where I was seeing if it's going to go Jamar Chase or if they're going to trade back. Jamar Chase, spelled incorrectly, but that's okay. Obviously, I mean, I've made way more mistakes than misspelling Jamar, which is, obviously a common mistake. So Jamar Chase, he's an absolute weapon. If you really want to go balls to the wall, you go with this. He's going to be basically what you were hoping for with Preston Williams, an elite weapon that has insane upside. Again, Preston Williams, I believe the only reason he dropped like the 5th round was because of personality issues. And obviously, I think that's actually surfaced in the NFL, which is unfortunate, but he hasn't had that boom. Jamar Chase, he's pretty much a scout's wet dream, which is a very disgusting way of putting it, but that's what I've actually heard from NFL scouts. They absolutely love this guy. I think that'd be a great fit. Again, those 3 have to be gone within these picks. So unless a trade comes up. And here we go. Here's the trade. Trey Lance going to the Broncos, trading up 2 spots, and Detroit only is going to be gaining a 3rd and then a 2022 4th. And we're going to see what they get out of the deal, because I'm pretty sure that this move doesn't sacrifice what Detroit's going to get. So Denver is going to be having their stamp on who they're getting, and then Detroit is still going to get their guy. So minimal amounts of capital going across. And I think Trey Lance, again, if he busts, it's like you're still have kind of a bust in Drew Lock. I'm 100% a fan of this. I know that some people aren't. I'm a big fan of this idea of taking Trey Lance. And he's my quarterback 4. Again, he's also Marcus's quarterback 4, but it's still worth taking a shot on, because you know that he has a lot of developmental traits. And this team can't really get any worse than having one of the worst quarterbacks at the helm. So next, we got the Cardinals moving up for Jaylen Waddle, giving up their 2nd round pick. I personally don't agree with this one. Jaylen Waddle is an amazing weapon. Do not get me wrong there. I think Christian Kirk kind of fills that slot role, if I'm not mistaken. But I think the Cardinals have a bigger issue at their second cornerback spot. I believe Robert Alford is in that spot right now, and that's really not worth starting on a Super Bowl caliber team. The offense to me is good enough. They have a fully built offensive line. They don't have tight ends, but that's not really a Cliff Kingsbury type of thing. They have okay running backs right now. Edmonds solid, Connor's solid as long as he stays healthy. Wide receiver core, they have a group of guys that maybe they're not worth winning a Super Bowl, but in a draft that is so heavy with wide receivers, I don't think the Cardinals have the need to be giving away their first 3 picks now because Rodney Hudson had the other 3rd round pick. So I'm going to be pushing back against that one. I know Marcus is always fine with my criticism, but I think that a cornerback is really what you need here, because again, you're kind of in win now mode if you're going to be having JJ Watt trying to end his career off with the Super Bowl here, which I didn't really understand that one personally. And I had the Cardinals going to the Super Bowl last year, so I think that there's a lot of potential here, but I don't know if Jaylen Waddle's the type of guy. You're kind of writing off Christian Kirk and or Andy Isabella in this case. So next, we got DeVonta Smith. I'm happy that he spelled that right because I know a couple people who don't spell Devontae right. So good job by Marcus catching up and basically pulling one out right there. But again, this is exactly what I was talking about. DeVonta Smith would have been my pick. Jaylen Waddle would have been my pick, but DeVonta Smith fits perfectly fine. You have Tyrell Williams, who is the perfect big guy to distract the big safeties, big corners. So again, it's worrisome that DeVonta Smith is going to be playing at 160 pounds. Most likely, it's what he did over Alabama. A lot of people are starting to believe that he's not going to be a top 10 pick because of that. And again, the best ability is availability. So it's something I would question. But again, they gained a 3rd round and then a next year 4th from it. That could be an extra lineman. If they were thinking about taking, I honestly would have traded back again because there's still Mac Jones on the board and some stupid team is going to be moving up for that. And then you could probably get like a Micah Parsons or something. But next we got Patrick Surtain, the second out of Bama. I think I like it. Again, I just hope that he plays at the tested speed because we've seen with Trevon Diggs and Patrick Surtain, they tested well, but Diggs is a little bit slower playing, according to my Cowboys fans. Next, we got Micah. I honestly don't mind it, apart from the fact that if you're really wanting to evaluate Daniel Jones, you kind of need to get Rashawn Slater, who could be an excellent, very versatile center guard tackle prospect. Micah Parsons, unbelievable talent though, so I can't get mad at it. I would just personally go another way. But again, if Micah Parsons works out, that's gonna be great. So this next pick, JOK, linebacker's a need. Slot corner, if I'm not mistaken, is a need. And then he could be Anthony Harris's replacement as well. So I don't mind it, apart from the fact that the Eagles haven't this is him saying the Eagles are not actually going to draft it, but he thinks is best for them, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember Marcus tweeting out saying, "I wish I could have this is not what I believe they will pick," as like a hotkey. But I don't mind it. Again, I think that would be a pretty solid pick. If I'm gonna be honest, I would take Rashawn Slater above all these guys because you can use him as a center to replace Jason Kelsey. Your guard spot, I mean, Brandon Brooks ain't gonna last forever, and then you have Isaiah Suamalu or Isaac Suamalu. I just don't really. I think that would just be the versatility would be insane. And again, it gives the offense their best chance. There's a lot of ways you could go. This Eagles team needs a lot. So JOK, far from a horrible option. Next, we got Rashawn Slater. Again, it depends if he actually uses his length properly. He's an absolutely amazing prospect. I've seen clips of him. He's unbelievably athletic, and it's great. I love to see that. But I personally would want a true left tackle here. And if people are having questions about Rashawn Slater and how he uses his length, not his length, how he uses it, I'd probably want to go with a guy more like Darrisaw. And that's just my personal take. Rashawn Slater, I would never, ever doubt the Chargers if they thought that he could be a true left tackle. Or if they have a better left tackle later on the draft in mind where they're like, dude, we're not going to get somebody who could fill this guard spot as well as Rashawn Slater could, or a center. I mean, they got Lindsley, so they don't need to do that. But filling in that guard spot where Trey Turner left. But, it's a good pick. It's a good pick. I just personally would go with this next pick, Christian Darrisaw, which, again, the Vikings do need offensive line. Every offense in the offensive line You do run the ball through Dalvin Cook. Darrisaw is an amazing, amazing player. If I'm not mistaken, Reef, who got sat. I love this clip. It's like, yes, this is the answer. But he got sat on his ass. It was just like, it was very entertaining. But Darrisaw can fill in that role. He can, you can use him pretty much anywhere in the offensive line if you really want him to, because he is super raw. But I mean, I fell in love with him. I think he's like a top 15. I have him as a top 11 prospect. Like, he's right there with Rashawn Slater for me because, again, I think he's a true left tackle, somebody who is going to be a perennial pro bowler if he develops correctly. He's a really, really good player. So I'm a big fan of him. He just has a little bit of growing and developing to do, which could definitely happen. Hopefully, like, the Vikings aren't very good at being able to do that, but that's all right. So the Patriots stay put and get Mac Jones. I'm happy Mac isn't going in the top 10. I heard that the quarterbacks will be going top 10. I don't like that idea just because I don't believe in Mac Jones. But, this is a spot where, again, they've proven that they could win with somebody. But, again, it's Tom Brady. It's not like you just have, like, pocket passers. Jimmy G did well. So I will digress a little bit I'll revert back on that one. Jimmy G worked well in this system as well. So, obviously Jimmy G is a great talent, but Mac Jones does have that type of similar trait system. So I'm not going to hate on it too much, but again, honestly, it's starting to grow on me a little bit because you're at 15. Again, it's kind of like Dwayne Haskins pick territory. It's like if he busts out, it's a mid first. So you're not really losing too much value, which is something I like quite a lot. This next pick, Samuel Cosmi, I love that because, again, I'm having concerns as to whether not Darrisaw, as to whether Slater is going to be a true left tackle if he uses his length right. Cosmi can be, and he's super versatile, very athletic. And with a guy like Christian McCaffrey, you use Samuel Cosmi on screens. I love this pick. I love it so much that I might be trying to implement this in my own draft. Not going to be at 16, but could be at 15. Just saying. But big fan of this pick. Big fan. I love this idea. Samuel Cosmi is an amazing he's a high floor talent. He's not very high ceiling. I didn't really see too much amazingness out of him, but he's super solid all around. And that's something that is quite, it's a good fresh breath of fresh air for the NFL, especially when you get to have that. Yes, Teven Jenkins to the Raiders. So far, I know Marcus has had his most interesting takes on the Cardinals. That's just the funniest thing for me. So most of these other picks are looking freaking prime, looking amazing. Teven Jenkins, love that pick. Obviously fits the right tackle spot. And I'm glad that he has Teven Jenkins just slightly ahead of Sam Cosmi because, again, it depends on the system, if we're going to be honest, because Cosmi fits a lot better with what Sam Darnold's going to need, a more mobile guy who could shift pocket. And then, again, somebody who can be on that screen game for Christian McCaffrey. This is going to be perfect. Teven Jenkins, a bigger, bulkier dude, dancing bear, as the 49ers head scout has told me. He has a lot of potential, and I love it. So this pick, the Dolphins go Landon Dickerson. So I'm perfectly fine with this. I'm going to be honest. He likes Creed Humphrey a lot more than I do. I assume he might be sending him to my Steelers because we need a center desperately, or the Packers. But Landon Dickerson, you see me. I put him to the Dolphins in the second round. I love Landon Dickerson. I have him as like a late first talent. He's a really good player, very high character as well. And if you want to sell out for Tua, this is the right way. Getting linemen who could transfer into another type of offensive scheme. And like if you have a new quarterback or something, Landon Dickerson's perfect. I'm a big fan of it. Matt Skura is not going to be the right option. If I'm not mistaken, that might be the center that they got from the Ravens. It's funny enough. I saw when they brought in DJ Fluker. Oh, we got a trade here. When they brought in DJ Fluker, the Ravens fans are like, Lamau, they just took our top our top two worst linemen. So I found it funny because obviously that doesn't fill the hole. It just adds some good depth. Next, the Cleveland Browns are moving up for Barmore, which, again, it is the best interior defensive lineman in a pretty shitty interior defensive line class. So I'm not going to hate on it. I just obviously think that maybe the secondary, you could go linebacker. I'm personally biased towards Zaven Collins. I love Zaven Collins, but if the NFL knows that Christian Barmore is the only day one interior defensive lineman, and the Browns just got rid of I think Sheldon Richardson. You guys can correct me on that. I think that's a perfectly understandable move. That is because, again, Cleveland's trying to fill in every little piece so they can make a Super Bowl run. So being able to sacrifice some of these picks in order to be able to fill those holes correctly with starters, I'm fine with. Third round, you're probably going to get a guy who will be developmental, who might get some snaps this season. First round, you get Barmore. He's going to start immediately. And the flashes, they're worth taking at this spot. And you know me, I hate interior defensive line. So that's just me. Ooh, the Bears get J.C. Horn? I love that. I mean, as a guy who likes the Bears, I absolutely love that. Obviously, we got the JC spelled wrong. I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm getting on your ass. But you know, I love it. I love JC Horn. He fits what the Bears are looking for. Him and Jaylon Johnson, I would be so ecstatic. I don't think he even gets close to getting here. Obviously, again, this is not a predictive mock draft if I'm not mistaken, but I love it. I love that pick so much. This one, Kwity Paye. I need to see what's in the next round. I love Kwity Paye. I'm happy he's edge one finally for Marcus because he used to have Gregory Rousseau there. But Kwity Paye, I just love me some Kwity Paye. And it would fit. I know how horrible the defensive ends are for the Colts. So if we get a good tackle in the next round or something, yes, absolutely. But I have my reserves because I know who the 33rd pick is because I prepared to switch over to another tab for the next part of this video. So Kwity Paye, good for the time being if we're able to address that tackle spot. Next pick, we got Gregory Rousseau. I think he fits the wide 9. I just personally would take a shot on a guy like Jason Oweh, somebody who's going to have a potential huge boom. Because again, you have Lawson there who you can use as a guy to coach him up. So that's just my idea. Rousseau is still edge 2 for Marcus, and I'm not. Oh man, I'm sorry, Marcus. There's gonna be some memes made out of this shit, but you know, I'm personally not a big fan of Greg, and that's just my take. So understanding that obviously this is his video, these are his rankings. I respect it. So I personally would have I don't have OA in my top 4, or even top 5. So I just think it's worth the project price. So that's why I'd rock it there. But again, Elijah Vera Tucker's on the board. That's something I totally forgot about. I'd 100% try to slot a guard in right here. Get Zach Wilson the help he needs. And I know the NFL is super high on AVT. Again, not a predictive mock draft, so not going to get on his tail for doing that. Ooh, we got Najee. Okay, I thought this pick was going to be Creed Humphrey, which again, understanding his board, I would have respected, but I hate personally. I love this pick. Again, we have to see what the Steelers do in the next round, but none of the tackles left on the board fit the Steelers 320 plus prototype. And again, Alejandro Villanueva was kind of a break from the 330 plus pound tackles that they normally get. So saying that they could be reaching down again, they've already done that with Villanueva. Next, we got the Jaguars going Pat Freiermuth. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. Missing an E, but you know, I personally like Brevin Jordan better, but I do like the fit. I do like the fit a lot. It's not something I'd ever get mad at. Again, I personally would just get Trevon Merrigan there just to stamp him in, but Pat Freiermuth, great fit, and with what Marcus is trying to do, I totally respect that. So definitely, I haven't seen anything bad. Ooh, Merrick being at this pick. You know, with JOK being off the board, this is one of the better picks that you can do. He is easily safety 1. The question is, do you want him to be the single high safety, or do you want him to be the slot corner? I know Merrick can play anything, so you know, I'm not going to disagree whatsoever because he can definitely fit. So I'll be fine with it. You know, I probably would want to go after like a Zaven Collins or something just because I love the upside. But, you know, Merrick's good. We just got to see what they do in the next round because I would love my boy Jamar Johnson there to fill that single high role and get me some Zaven Collins right here. That'd be my dream. But now the Ravens going Creed Humphrey. I think that's fine. You know, I'm perfectly on board with that, given what Marcus thinks about Creed Humphrey. I'm super low on Creed Humphrey. I think he has garbage IQ and motor, but understanding what Marcus is doing in his board, you got to respect it. You guys see it through their lens as well. It's something I'm starting to develop in this mock the mock thing. Personally, I wouldn't do it, but if you were them, this is what you have to think about. If you were them and he's thinking what's best, I mean, no wonder he's going to use this freaking board, guys. So I'm perfectly fine with it. They do need a center, but obviously I wouldn't be rocking Creed Humphrey myself. Personally, this could be no, I'm not gonna go with an ABT pick there just because obviously that's it's a little bit ridiculous given the fact that I believe they just got Zeitler there for that right guard spot. So I mean, I'm fine with it. I personally would probably try to go Creed in the second round, but fine with it because of course given the offensive center grade, that's going to be a day 1 starter, if I'm not mistaken. So his next pick, we got Caleb Farley, which again, I love that. I love that the score is brought down just because of injury. And this would be a great pick because, again, I don't think the Saints are going to be competing, man. I really don't. You got some juggernauts in that division that are getting older. So if Caleb Farley can end up churning out to be somebody who can get past these health issues, this could be a home run hit for the team. Imagine, Marshawn Lattimore is probably not going to be there. He could be in jail. But imagine if Caleb Farley is able to grow with maybe another young corner, then you're going to have a very young secondary. That's a very nice thing to have, especially if you're going to try to develop a quarterback, because by that time you'll have a seasoned secondary that still could be relatively affordable, which is a good start for a team that needs to restart. Next, Asante Samuel Jr. to the Packers. I mean, I'm all down for going after linebacker here and helping the run game, but cornerback is obviously a huge issue. Would not doubt it at all. Asante Samuel Jr., I love his mentality. Him and Jair Alexander would be a scary duo. I love that. So next, we got Liam Eichenberg to the Chiefs. I personally am a big fan of this. I know my boy, I'm bugging on his name right now. I think it's Jabril or something. He thinks that offensive tackle shouldn't be their first thing because they're going after Stone Forsythe. But Liam Eichenberg, I love it. He's a sturdy tackle. He's steady. People think he could be a guard, but I'm personally against it. But I'm perfectly fine with that. Next, Jaelan Phillips. Again, I love that we have now injury indicators, but this is perfect. I hope that Jaelan Phillips has a very short career. I honestly do. We just saw Jordan Reed retire because the concussion specialist said, dude, you need to retire. You're going to be done. They've already done that with Jaelan Phillips, but he wants to play. So I hope he has a nice 3-year career and is able to live on without having too bad of CTE and be able to live a really good life. You guys already know my rant about this. This is the perfect spot to do it. He can grow under JPP, which if JPP wants to retire next year or if JPP gets injured, this team could have a fresh, fully loaded, high talent staff or roster the entire time. I'm a big fan of it. And we're just going to be rocking on to this next part because that's the end of round 1, but we got still got some shit to get through. So Dylan Radoon, start top of the second. I like it. Obviously you forfeited Merrick. That's my only problem with it, but I love it. Next, there we go. Elijah Vera Tucker. So at the end of the day, it still works out. So I like it. Now the draft's looking a lot better. So good job to Marcus for that. That's a perfect fit. Next, we got ETN. Yes. Someone who's not giving a power back to a team that just signed Mike Davis. I actually love this fit. You have Kamara in division. Get your Kamara. Big fan of that. Marcus is kicking ass this draft. You know me. I like to tear people apart, and I kind of did for Marcus in the last one, but damn, he's doing a good job here. Joseph aside to the Cardinals. Now I'm going to push back. I think that you're running more of, you kind of lost Lawson there, right? He is going to be around like 260, 270 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. So you kind of want a bigger dude. You kind of already got Van Ginkel there. Again, I know that you lost Van Noy, so Joseph Asai could be the Van Noy replacement, but I think that getting a bigger defensive end is kind of the goal. And again, you could get your true number 1 power back with Javonte Williams here. That'd be my pick. I love Joseph Asai's motor, so I know that they might be totally down for that. And man, they got a young guy, Noah Igbenogany, that caught my eye randomly. I was just watching. I forgot who was playing against Auburn, but I was like, wow, who is this number 4 guy? It was Noah Igbenogany. So yeah, they have a really young staff that's doing why do I keep saying staff? Really young roster is doing a very good job. I love Joseph Asai. He's among my top edge talents. I love him. I think might be my edge 4. But we skipped one. Next we got where the fuck Greg Newsome to the Eagles, which again, I think Greg Newsome might be more of a man corner. I saw him win the PFF superlative for best hips. So I don't know if he fits a cover 2 scheme, but I don't think that the Eagles would ever care if they got a good talent like Greg Newsome here. So I personally would go like more of an Eric Stokes who thrives in zone, has great zone instincts. But I mean, again, you do need a corner. We don't know how long this zone cover 2 is going to last, especially with more of a man corner like Darius Slay. But I'm fine with it. I'm honestly fine with it. Terrace Marshall. So this is like you get your star tackle, and then which could be a guard for this year 1, and then you get Joe Burrow, someone who you're still comfortable with. I love Terrace Marshall's tape when I was watching him last year, not this year, last year. He actually looked amazing, and obviously, I feel like motivation is a little bit of an issue. So if you have his old signal caller there, that's going to be a nice little comfortable way to get him in the NFL. I'm a big fan of this move. Big fan. I love it overall. So going on to the next pick, we got the Carolina Panthers getting Rondale Moore. So I mean, I'm honestly perfectly fine with this. You lost Curtis Samuel. You're getting kind of a Curtis Samuel. I'm perfectly fine with this. I don't like Rondale Moore personally. I would rather go Kadarius Toney at that spot, but understanding that Rondale Moore is to Marcus what Kadarius Toney is to me, I think that'd be perfectly fine. Speaking of, there's Kadarius Toney. So the Green Bay Packers are moving up with who's at the spot? The Broncos. So the Broncos trade up. Now they're trading back in order to regain their capital. And Kadarius Toney's the pick. I love this. Getting somebody who can be elusive and dangerous in space for Aaron Rodgers, that's something that's super nice. It's a good check down option as well. The amount of plays that you can use with Kadarius Toney is absolutely insane. Big fan of that trade up too, because again, I know you need offensive line and shit, and you did give up your 3rd round pick, which is very unfortunate. This line class is pretty deep for one, but two, your offense just doesn't have the legs to go the distance if you don't have an actual second weapon. So imagine how MVS looks with Aaron Rodgers. Now imagine how much Kadarius Toney could be elevated with Aaron Rodgers. I love that fit. Again, I'd hope that, of course, we're not going to probably see it. I'd hope that the Packers could get a good tackle. Next, we got Zaven Collins. Man, if he falls here, I have him as my number 15 player. I absolutely love him. That would be just a dream. So, I mean, again, I know linebacker is a huge need for the Lions, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Next, we got the Giants going Ben Cleveland. I know how much Marcus loves Ben Cleveland, and again, respecting his offensive line score, now it makes a lot more sense. So, obviously, I don't believe the Giants went with a lineman round 1, and I was like, ooh, like, why not just go Slater right there? This explains it because obviously Marcus is extremely high in Ben Cleveland. This to me would be similar to a more of like a Wyatt Davis pick. But I would probably put Quinn Meinerz here and just put him to guard. If we're going to be honest, I could use him as a center in the future as well. I love Quinn Meinerz, so that's just me. But Ben Cleveland, I know everybody's super high on Ben Cleveland. He's going to be a day 1 starter. So cheers to him. Honestly, I think that would be a solid fit. Next, we got Paulson Adebo. So staying in the Bay Area, it could actually be a legit factor, especially with COVID kind of limiting travel and stuff. They could just like go back and watch the tape from what they've already studied nearby. Paulson Adebo showed the athleticism, and he's been a high-end corner for a very long time. He could fit into the scheme very well. I personally go after a high-ceiling player like Tyson Campbell, but Paulson Adebo is no scrub. So I ain't going to get on Marcus's ass for it. He's in the right position. I personally would go a different route. I'll call him out when I think a pick is stupid. This one is not. Jevon Holland, he can play corner for you if you want, but he can also play that safety role. I'm a big fan of it. So, again, the safeties for the Cowboys are on 1-year contracts, and Barmore's not here. So I think safety is a perfectly valid option. At this next spot, we got Walker Little. I don't like getting a tackle that didn't we get reduced? So, I think he's getting Walker Little to be somebody who might be able to catch up and reduce somebody who can start day 1. Even if that's not the case, Walker Little is still worth taking a shot on. I just don't know if it's worth this pick to take a shot on him. I'd probably want to go with Jamar Johnson here, who can play more of a nice little elusive safety role for you, but or Richie Grant. But Walker Little's developmental. Again, if this was my 3rd round pick, that's somebody who has a lot of upside that I'd be willing to take. We gotta see what they do round 3 because there's a 3-rounder. So next pick, we got Elijah Moore. Big fan of this one. He does seem like he could fit the Patriots idea. And then again, if you pair him up with Mac Jones, that's going to be an excellent check down weapon for him. Elijah Moore, very dangerous in space. I'm a big fan. Next, we got Tyson Campbell to the Chargers. That's really good. I love that pick. That's kind of like your next Jalen Ramsey because obviously the Rams defensive coordinators, they're a new head coach. Brandon Staley, if I'm not mistaken. That's great. I'm a big fan of that. Huge fan. Big fan. Next, we got Levi Onwuzurike. Ooh, Maurice Hurst is gone, and then Levi's coming in. I like that. Again, I'd personally go with a Jamar Johnson or Richie Grant because you need that single high safety. But again, we got to see what they do round 3. Levi is a very good addition to the team. And again, he might be one of the few guys who you can actually draft in this class and actually eventually start rather than being rotational depth. Now we got Quinn Meinerz, Wisconsin Whitewater, going to the Panthers. I like it. So I'm trying to remember who the Panthers took just a little bit ago. They got Rondale Moore. So now you have Quinn Meinerz as well. That's pretty good. You got Sam Cosmi and Quinn Meinerz. That's very nice. Definitely to secure that interior of the offensive line. So I'm a big fan of that one. Next pick, we got Javonte Williams. There you go. Personally, I would have wanted Javonte in the first, second round pick, and this be more of like a boogie to replace that that bigger defensive end role. But I'm not gonna get too pissy about it because they ended up with Javonte anyways, and they have Osai, who I absolutely love. He's a darling to me. Next, we got Jalen Mayfield going to the Bears. He's gonna be a tackle, but they could use a guard. So if he does fail at tackle, there's still hope for him on this roster, and they're at least taking a shot on a tackle. So I'm not gonna be too mad about it. There's a lot of upside for Jalen Mayfield. I think this is a good spot for him to go. It's sad to see him fall so much, but again, those measurements, they do kind of scare the shit out of me. Next, we got Brevin Jordan. I love it. I love that fit. I have a Jonnu Smith comp, so perfect fit for me. Next, we got Dyami Brown to the Colts. I actually really like this pick. You're kind of getting a little too skinny in your wide receiver core, but I mean, Dyami Brown is a stud. I can't deny that. And again, if you want, actually, we still don't have a tackle though. This would be still a good spot for maybe a Stone Forsyth, but we got to see what they do round 3 because I don't know how Marcus's board's going to fall. But for right now, I think Dyami Brown, if we're able to steal a guy who could start day 1 at tackle, who's better than Sam Tevi, that's going to be a dream. But otherwise, I still really need to get that left tackle spot. Steelers getting Spencer Brown. I really like this one because the Steelers are trying to win now. So they're willing to spend a pick on a guy who's like around 25 years old, like Spencer Brown. But also they need tackle help like nobody's business. Spencer Brown scored a 10 RAS score. He will be most likely a pick around here. So I'm a pretty big fan of this. Again, you got the line help for the Steelers, and Brown's going to be one of the better day 1 impacts in the NFL. So I'm a big fan of this one. Next, we got Eric Stokes to the Seahawks. I'm fine with it. You know, Eric Stokes could be a nasty ball hawk, so I'm not going to complain about it. They desperately need a corner. Tylan Wallace to the Baltimore Ravens. I like that. He could be a really good understudy to Sammy Watkins. So I'm a big fan of that one. It's a good fit as well. Trey Smith. We just missed this. Trey Smith to the Rams. I guess the Rams are in win now mode, so you don't really need Trey Smith to last, as horrible as that sounds. But Trey Smith would be a good fit there. Next, we got the Browns going Jaylen Darden. Excuse me. That's quite interesting. I like Jaylen Darden. Don't get me wrong. He's like one of my top. He might be in my top 10 wide receiver group, but I don't know if gadget weapons is the exact thing that the Browns need. But I guess the rich get richer, right? You still have some really good corners. You still have some good safeties on the board if you want some more single highs, but I don't think you really need that. You could get a good slot corner here in Elijah Molden, which personally, I don't know if that's the right move because Troy Hill was just brought on, but you never know. Elijah Molden's too good to pass up on for me, but it's a solid pick. The Browns have a lot of holes that are filled up. I thought that that Baker Mayfield was supposed to make a top 5 quarterback jump. Next, Jason Oweh. Absolutely love this pick. 100% love this pick. Worth the spot for one, but also this is a team that could take another chance. I like the idea of taking chances. Next, we got Kelvin Joseph. I hate Kelvin Joseph. I'm happy that it's cornerback 9 for Marcus, but for me, he's more like cornerback like 15. I'm just not a fan. Really not a fan. He got banned from the Fiesta Bowl at LSU because he violated team rules for an undisclosed thing, which if they don't disclose it, that's kind of a bad thing. And then he transferred. He already has personality problems. I don't think he's that good in coverage. He has great athleticism, and there's no reason he got brought to LSU. He has talent, but I don't think the NFL is going to be that high on him. I'm going to be honest. But this could be a good spot for Ifeatu Melifonwu, who I would love in that cover 2 scheme. Next, you got Monty Rice. I know that Marcus loves Monty Rice. So to me, I'm going to imagine this as more of like a Jabril Cox or because he talks about, I believe, the coverage ability of Monty Rice. I think that would be a solid fit. I know linebacker is a big need for the Broncos, and I'm glad that they were able to reacquire good picks here and still get a quality player on Marcus's board. I think that the position is right. Nick Bolton's still on the board, by the way, so I'd probably go Nick Bolton. But yeah, you know what's up. So this next pick, we're going to go Boogie Basham. I'm a big fan of this one. Yeah, now you have tackle, now you got edge rusher. Then you can get a wide receiver round 3. That's really good. I'm a big fan of that one. Next, we got Milton Williams. Yes. I don't think that he really fits. I'm going to be honest. He's not big enough, but I love the potential. And this is a team that can draft somebody based on the potential. Milton Williams is my interior defensive lineman too, because I love how amazingly raw and talented he is. Those flashes against like BYU, where he just stood up the best offensive line pound for pound against their opponents. He just stood them up and plowed them. So I love what I've seen, and I mean, this is a team that could just take a shot. Obviously, his pro day numbers were absolutely unreal. Now we're gonna go into these. Jacksonville getting Richie Grant. Oh, there we go. Marcus loves just to sneak it in, man. What a G. This is a great draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, this is not talking about what the draft should be. It's who's gonna be right for the team. Ambry Thomas to the Jets. Whoa, okay. I like the idea of going corner for the Jets. So I'm there with the position. I don't think Ambry Thomas is going to be liked that much, just given the fact that, I mean, he's a fighter. I can't really say anything bad about Ambry. It's just I definitely don't have that high of a grade on him. So I got to watch him personally, but Marcus definitely has been on the grind in terms of finding players and studying them. So, we can try. I know that Ambry Thomas is good. I just don't think it's top of the third good. Aleem McNeil to Houston. I know how good he is, so he's like around like my 101 player in the draft. I just don't like interior defensive line. So that's my thing. Next, we got Wyatt Davis to Atlanta. This is a team that could take a shot on a guard who needs some development. I'm a big fan of developing Wyatt Davis. So I don't think he's ready day one. I think, honestly, the center next to him, Josh Myers, more ready day one. Next, Cincinnati, Kendrick Green. He's going to be ready to play guard or center, and that's something that they need both of. So they can actually use him as a center if they want to use Penei Sewell at guard for year one. And that's going to be a big upgrade. I like the idea of focusing on the offensive line. Again, I wouldn't probably take Kendrick Green that high, but I still like where Marcus's head is. Next, Philadelphia, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He plays more of a slot role, which that's what Jalen Reagor is, but I like the idea that he could be on the outside. So I'm not going to hate on this pick. It is somebody, if you want to use him on the outside, he's very electric, very dangerous. And to me, that'd be worth that pick. Again, it's number 70 overall, and you're getting a position of heavy need, and he's not on a team where he needs to produce day one. Like, they want him to produce day one, but this is a team where they kind of suck, so they don't need him to. Next, Detroit, which is traded. Amari Rodgers out of Clemson. I love that. That kind of seals the Jaylen Waddle part off, which, again, I don't think Amari Rodgers is a good consolation package, but it gets good enough to where you still have a very good weapon with the ball in his hands as long as he doesn't drop it. And now you have DeVonta Smith and Tyrell Williams. That's a good squad right there. I'm pretty happy with how Detroit has rebuilt a wide receiver core just like that. Detroit game, Marco Wilson. I don't know if they really want to deal with some more attitude problems in Florida, but he does have the potential. So I'm a pretty big fan of that. Next, we got, of course, my dumbass didn't click. Of course, I should probably be like, actually, oh, okay, well, this is just me being a complete dumbass right now. But yeah, just making sure that we are on track. We are. Carolina getting Hunter Long. So I think Tommy Tremble will probably be the third tight end off the board, just given the fact that he's a really good blocker and apparently a pretty damn good receiver. Somebody who I actually have a scouting report on, I'm going to be doing very soon. I think that it's a good spot to take a tight end. They don't have Jack there, so getting a good tight end at this value is something that could be very good for the squad. Washington getting Jackson Carman. I like how he said offensive lineman, but again, Jamar Johnson's on the board. Give me some Jamar Johnson. So yeah, get that single high done. And then you can get some extra linemen as good depth later on. I know they already have Sadiq Charles there, somebody who could be a good fit. Dallas going Ronnie Perkins out of Oklahoma. I think that could be a good fit. I just don't know if he fits a 4-3, a Dan Quinn 4-3. I'm personally more on like the no side, but I got to see how much Ronnie Perkins weighs. I personally would just went Joe Tryon right there. You can honestly swap these two, and then I'd be even more fine with it because I know that Ronnie Perkins is similar to something Carter. I'm forgetting the guy's first name out of Georgia that they took a little bit ago, a couple years ago, New York Giants. So I think if you swap these, I'd be much more on board. Chargers going Osa Odigizua. I've gotten a little bit lower on Osa Odigizua, but I know that they could use some help on the interior defensive line. Don't think it's a bad position value, but I personally would be going after a guy like Alex Leatherwood who has potential at a guard spot if you believe that Rashawn Slater's a left tackle. Minnesota getting Alex Leatherwood, it's kind of just best player available, but again, they do really need an edge player. So I don't know. I don't know about that. Next, Las Vegas getting Kerry Vincent. They do need a slot corner. So I'm fine with it. As long as they get Andre Cisco as well, a true single high safety. So Marcus is answering the bell, but I don't know if Jamar Johnson hasn't gone yet. I don't believe, right? Because my boy Jamar Johnson, I'd be going off about him at this point. He definitely hasn't gone. So I don't think that Marcus is as high on Jamar Johnson as I am, but that's okay. At the next spot, Miami getting Tyler Shelvin. I love getting a space eater for this team. I know they have Christian Wilkins, but Tyler Shelvin could be a nice little space eater, rotational guy for him. Washington and Kellen Mond. This is a good spot to take a shot on a quarterback like Kellen Mond. Could start day one if he ends up being as talented as we know he could be. Chicago going Nick Bolton. Oh my God. The fact that he fell this far. Again, not a predictive mock draft. I think that a team like Miami could have taken a Nick Bolton easily, but I definitely think that he's pretty talented. Excuse that for the time being. Philadelphia getting Philadelphia to Baltimore. I'm not sure if that's Philadelphia to Baltimore. But looking at the draft, 384 for okay. I'm a little bit bugging right now. I think that Cam Sample, Tulane, I think that might be Baltimore trading up because I don't believe Philadelphia had that pick. Regardless of the fact, Cam Sample could be a good player on either team. That's the bottom line. He'd be really good on either team. Next, 85, Brady Christensen to Tennessee. I'm not a fan of Brady Christensen, but I can see the value. At this spot, it's okay to take a shot on a very developmental player. I think it'll just be another bust. New York Jets getting Kenneth Gainwell. I think my boy Michael Carter is getting a little bit disrespected, but I know people love Kenny Gainwell. So the thought's in the right place. I'm a big fan of it. Picking Aaron Robinson, I know he has a Steeler mentality, and I know that we did get rid of one of our 2 slot corners. So I'm not going to bitch about it too much. I think we just need to get a boundary corner because we lost Steven Nelson. And then Tyree Gillespie out of Missouri. I like that. I just don't think the Rams need an actual safety anymore. We do have they have like 3 really solid ass safeties. I think that it's a little bit underrating the safety core right now, which I was honestly surprised because I personally would have went safety there. Washington getting Tommy Tremble, wonderful pick. Yes, 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 love it. Minnesota getting Rashad Weaver. There's your edge pick. I dig it. He could definitely be a day one impact. I just don't know if he's going to be day one for a long time. Cleveland, Dylan Moses, big fan. You're getting a guy who could be a potential boom on your team as long as he stays healthy, and that's something that's worth taking. Green Bay to Denver. I think this was, Green Bay to Denver. So the other pick was the Ravens, so I like that pick. Deontay Smith, I love that because, again, I know that Lloyd Cushenberry is not very well liked by Marcus. Then Buffalo getting Caden Stearns, very interesting. I don't know how much I like that, but I like how Buffalo's continue to invest in its secondary. I would go a corner personally. Ifeatu Melifonwu, if I'm not mistaken, still on the board. Kansas City, Tamori and Terry. That's definitely worth taking a shot on. I'd be a big fan of that. Next, Larry Boom, Larry Borum out of Missouri. I don't know who that is, but I like the idea because I'm pretty sure one of the guards or centers could be replaced on the squad. I think it's one of the guards. So that's good. That's good depth right there. New England, Baron Browning. That's my dream destination for Baron Browning. And we're going to be just still flying through this because, again, we do have some issues with power of the computer, and I don't want to screw you guys over. Next, Chargers, Seth Williams. I like that fit. It's going to be a good replacement for Mike Williams because I don't want them to continue paying them. New Orleans, Dwayne Eskridge. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. I love that fit so much. I would personally do it even in the first round. Dallas, Josh Myers getting an eventual center. I don't really know if that's the right move. It could be moved to guard, though. I like his day one impact if they do need some health because they've been dealing with some injury issues. Tennessee, slot corner, Elijah Molden. Oh, I love my boy Elijah. So if they take him in the first, I'd be perfectly fine with it. I think they need more of a boundary corner again, but it's kind of best player available. Detroit, Jay Tuafele. They do need interior defensive line help, and Jay Tuafele is worth taking that pick. San Francisco, Hamza. Don't know if they need a box safety, but if they do, then I'd be rocking Hamza as well. Davion Nixon to the Rams. I like that, the upside there. Big time. Big time. That could be a good Michael Brockers replacement. Ardarius Washington to Philadelphia. That's a good pick as well. And Nico Collins. That's excellent because we don't even know if Mike Thomas is honestly going to want to be there. But we'll see about that. I want to see, is that all Marcus has? I think it is. So that is the video. I'm glad we made it through, and I hope you guys did enjoy. Marcus did a pretty damn good job on this. You know, for me to disagree with only a couple picks, obviously I disagreed with the players, but again, from his perspective, if I had the same rankings, I would have just different players in those spots. This is one of the best drafts I've seen. So again, with it not being a predictive mock draft, I respect it. So with that being said, I like this. Again, not a predictive mock draft. If it were, I'd be tearing Marcus apart, but it's not. So I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Marcus for, of course, giving me fun content and always doing a good job on the graphics so you guys have something to watch. But I will see you guys on the far side. Peace.